Language is full of mysteries, but in the underworld of phonology, some sounds do not play by the rules.
Names Lex. Lex Beacon. Phonology Division.
Detective, you've got to help me. I used to be E, long and proud, but now people just call me E. Short, simple, forgotten.
Another case of vowel shortening. You are not the first one.
Detective! Detective! My partner is missing. Together we are blue. But now I'm just blue. Someone dropped the L and ran away.
First, a long vowel who has an identity crisis. Now, we got a consonant who has gone AWOL. Looks like we are dealing with double case, a serious one. Cluster reduction and vowel shortening. Two of the most elusive phonological processes in English language.
Two cases, same pattern. Sounds changing, disappearing, breaking the rules. But in my line of work, we don't just point fingers. We dig for patterns.
To crack this case, we need to understand the suspects. Let's start with the first, cluster reduction. It's what happens when one or more consonants in a cluster are left out during pronunciation, like saying tart instead of start. It often happens when learners are getting used to English sounds and find certain consonant combinations tricky to pronounce.
Our second case, vowel shortening. That's when a long vowel is reduced to a shorter duration. It is when the long vowel sound isn't sustained as expected, such as sheep, long vowel being pronounced as sheep, short vowel. These interchangeable pronunciations can cause confusion and misunderstandings. This occurrence happens because some languages lack the distinction between long and short vowels.
So, why focus on cluster reduction? Here are a few reasons.
First, common ESL challenges. Cluster reduction is challenging for ESL speakers because many native languages do not use complex consonant clusters, making it difficult for learners to adapt to English pronunciation patterns. Focusing on consonant reduction helps reveal how ESL speakers naturally speak in real situations, offer insights into their fluency level, and how their first language affects the way they speak English. Second, speech intelligibility. Accurate cluster production impacts on communication effectiveness, and understanding how ESL speakers use or reduce clusters help to improve overall speech intelligibility. The third one is cross-linguistic variation. Consonant clusters vary across languages. Different native languages have distinct rules for cluster formation, and observing how ESL speakers reduce consonants can show how their language background impacts their pronunciation habits in English.
Next up, vowel shortening. At first glance, it seems subtle, but in speech, a few milliseconds can make or break meaning. Let's look at why this matters.
First, word differentiation. Understanding vowel shortening helps ESL speakers clearly distinguish between similar words, which is essential for accurate communication. For example, in the words pool and pull, the vowel length and quality change the meaning. Vowel reduction in unstressed syllables makes it easier to recognize these differences in natural speech. When learners master vowel reduction, they can better perceive and produce subtle vowel changes that separate words. This leads to clearer speech and helps avoid confusion between words that sound alike but have different meanings. Second, influence on spelling pronunciation confusion. Many ESL speakers try to pronounce English words exactly as they are spelled, so they pronounce every vowel fully. However, vowel reduction shows that not all written vowels are clearly spoken. For example, the word father is often pronounced as father, where the second vowel is reduced to a softer sound like a, which can help ESL speakers speak more naturally and also understand spoken English more easily.
To ensure our investigation was systematic, we did not rely on random speech. We designed a controlled set of linguistic tools to elicit clear evidence of cluster reduction and vowel shortening. First, we prepared a list of 5 words that typically trigger cluster reduction in ESL speech. These words contain consonant clusters that often get simplified in casual pronunciation. Next, we selected 5 words to examine vowel shortening. This included words with contrastive long and short vowels to observe how speakers handle vowel length. To see how these processes interact in connected speech, we also crafted 5 sentences combining both cluster reduction and vowel shortening. This helped us observe how speakers naturally navigate both features during real-time speech. Finally, to capture spontaneous, authentic speech, we asked open-ended questions. These prompts encourage natural conversation, allowing us to detect any unprompted phonological processes that might emerge. With these instruments, we recorded multiple speech samples. Now it's time to analyze the data and uncover the patterns hidden in plain sound.
It's time to look at the evidence. We have gathered some speech samples from ESL speakers, unaware of the phonological footprints they've left behind. Let's open all of the case files to get to know the subjects.
Bismillah. My name is Umayyah Azizan. I'm 20 years old from Kuliah of American Kuliah of Rose, and I'm from Terengganu.
My name is Azah Niki Muhammad Fauzi. I am 20 years old and I am from Kuliah of Education and I am from Kelantan.
My name is Nur Aini Najibah Binti Ahmad Kamil. I'm 22 years old and I'm from Kuliah of Education and I'm from Terengganu.
My name is Najibah Binti Ahmad Rizal. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Kuliah of Education and I'm from Kedah.
Starting with the word reading, we are going to dissect each word that the subjects have read and make a comparison.
Subtle,
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 subtle.
It seems that some of the subjects had mistakenly added extra sounds. For Izzati, she included the b sound in pronouncing the word, whereas Alia Najiha also added the s sound as well. Well, this might be due to a few reasons. Number 1. English orthography. Due to differences between orthographic forms and pronunciations in English, ESL speakers may pronounce words with additional sounds, which would explain the b sound. Number 2. Silent letters. Second language acquisition is heavily influenced by the native language, or L1. Bahasa lacks silent letters, which contrasts to English pronunciation. L1 interference plays a significant role in L2 acquisition. The speaker's background in an Arabic major course also influenced their pronunciation, expanding their unfamiliarity with silent letters. This is because both Bahasa and Arabic lack silent letter occurrences, leading to the pronunciation error of the word subtle. As Chomsky's university grammar suggests, language acquisition is shaped by environmental exposure, meaning a learner's linguistic surroundings can impact their English pronunciation. Number 3. Epenthesis. The insertion of an extra sound into a word. Since Alia already added the b sound, she might have inserted the s as well due to familiar phonotactic pattern, which in this case is the sound bst, b, s, and t, such as in the words substance and substitute.
Tips,
Crips, Chris,
Crips.
All of the subjects struggle with this one. Some either omitted the first sound or the second sound. This is referred to as triconsonantal reduction, whereby 3 phonemes are reduced to 2 sounds. In this case, the sound turned into either s or ps.
lim,
lim,
One subject pronounced it right, while the other three omitted the final consonant sound f. This is the occurrence of two consonants reduction, where the speakers often omitted the final consonant, in this case, the f sound.
12,
12,
For the word 12th, one subject pronounced it right, while the other three have omitted consonant sounds, either th or s, or both. Since the word 12th is constructed of 4 phonemes, the subjects tend to omit these consonant sounds because it is harder to pronounce than words with less phonemes. Reduction of consonant clusters takes place mostly in word final and word medial positions.
ask,
For the word asked, again, everyone mispronounced the same word. This time around, they omitted the th sound, resulting in asked, turning into ask. It is similar to the other consonant cluster in which 3 phonemes turn into 2.
Moving on to the next case with the same test type, vowel shortening.
sheep,
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 Two subjects pronounce it wrong, shortening the E to E, but the rest of the subjects pronounce it right.
sheep,
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 This word also has similar results as sheep. Two subjects shortened the vowels, while two did it right.
wool,
Except for one subject, everyone else pronounced it wrong due to unawareness of vowel shortening from U to U.
father,
father,
All the subjects shortened the pronunciation of A to A.
cot,
The vowel sound in this word was also changed from O to O by all of the subjects. Malaysian English tends to be syllable time, meaning that each syllable has equal duration, rather than the stressed syllables being more prominent, as is the case in English. This can also lead to a shortening of vowels in English words.
Now, let's listen to the recordings for sentence reading and listen if there are any differences.
the crips crunched loudly as she absentmindedly chewed, lost in the depth of her thoughts.
the crips crunched loudly as she absentmindedly chewed, lost in the depth of her thoughts.
the crisps crunch loudly as she absent-mindedly chewed, lost in the depth of her thoughts.
The crisps crunched loudly as she absent-mindedly chewed, lost in the depth of her thoughts.
In the word crisps, two subjects omitted the middle sound, whereas the other two neglected the final s. For crunched, only one person got it correct, and a cluster reduction happened for the final t sound. There is also another t elision, but in middle position for the word absent-mindedly for two subjects. Another positive consonant, d, is also absent in chewed for one subject.
His strengths lay in his ability to read the subtle shifts in people's emotions, sensing what they needed before they even asked.
His strengths lay in his ability to read the subtle shifts in people's emotion, sensing what they needed before they even asked it.
His strength lay in his ability to read the subtle shifts in people's emotions, sensing what they need before they even ask.
His strengths lay in his ability to read the subtle shifts in people's emotions, sensing what they need before they even ask.
In the word strengths, one subject did not pronounce the th sound. 3 of them also shortened the vowel E in the word read. The problems with the pronunciation of the word subtle are also similar to the ones they did in the word reading test. Other mispronunciations are for the word shifts and emotions, whereby the sounds t and z are dropped by one subject. The word people also had been a confusion in between short and long vowel, but one subject mispronounced the word entirely by saying pupils. Lastly, for the word asked. 3 people still pronounced it as ask instead of asked, whereas another one faced an orthographic-related issue by pronouncing the t sound with id sound.
He left a quick note on the dashboard before stepping out of the car, hoping it would explain everything.
He left a quick note on the dashboard before stepping out of the car, hoping it would explain everything.
He left a quick note on the dashboard before stepping out of the car, hoping it would explain everything.
He left a quick note on the dashboard before stepping out of the car, hoping it would explain everything.
For words like he and dashboard, 3 subjects did not pronounce E and O sounds as long vowels. However, for the word car, only one subject pronounced a shortened version of A. As for cluster reduction in this sentence, 3 subjects omitted the sound in left, whereas one subject did not include the k sound in explain.
The cold ground numbed his feet, but he knew he had to keep moving. Home was still far away.
The cold ground numbed his feet, but he knew he had to keep moving. Home was still far away.
The cold ground numbed his feet, but he knew he had to keep moving. Home was still far away.
The cold ground numbed his feet, but he knew he had to keep moving. Home was still far away.
A lot of d sounds would drop from a few words in this sentence, which include cold and numbed, having 2 subjects who omitted the sound, while all of them struggle with pronouncing ground correctly. Again, E sound is shortened in the word feet, but only by one of them.
The tired father watched his son splash in the pool, a rare moment of peace after a long day's work.
The tired father watched his son splash in the pool, a rare moment of peace after a long day's work.
The tired father watched his son splash in the pool, a rare moment of peace after a long day's work.
The tired father watched his son splash in the pool, a rare moment of peace after a long day's work.
In the word father, 3 of them pronounced it correctly with the proper long vowel sound R, while one subject pronounced it with a shorter vowel, which may affect the natural stress of the word. For cluster reduction like watch, all the participants omitted the final t sound. In the case of pool, only one subject struggled to pronounce it with a short vowel instead of the correct long U sound, while the other 3 subjects pronounced it correctly. As the word after, all subjects pronounce it using a shortened vowel, which suggests a consistent tendency to reduce vowel length, especially in unstressed syllables. Lastly, for the word work, all participants reduce a short vowel sound rather than the correct length In the sentence reading, most cluster reductions involve elision of th and th sound, and there is one with k sound omission. Even though Malay does have these plosive consonant sounds, they usually appear in the beginning or in the middle of a word, either preceded or followed by a vowel such as tidur and dadu. However, in English, these plosives are commonly placed at the end of a word, preceded by another consonant. This unfamiliar pattern leads to them struggling with pronouncing the consonant sounds and omitting the ones at the very end. Meanwhile, vowel shortening cases in sentence reading can be seen from long vowels such as e, u, o, a. In total, there are 30 pronunciation mistakes in sentence reading concerning vowel shortening. This occurrence can result from phonological transfer when a speaker's first language does not distinguish between long and short vowels. For example, language like Malay do not have the same vowel length contrast found in English, leading learners to substitute English long vowels with shorter ones. Bhaskaran describes that this general tendency to make all vowels short is an influence of bahasa.
I truly started speaking English in first year of my school. I speak rarely in English with my family, but with friends, I got some foreign friends where I usually speak English with.
In Umar's speech, one mistake that he often makes is shortening the long vowels in words like started and speaking. The words should be pronounced with long vowels like started and speaking, where Umar tends to say them with shorter vowel sound.
Okay, my dream, since I am in the Kuliah of Education, I think I want to be a good teacher like my teacher who inspired me to be in this kuliah. She is very bright person. If she teaches in the class that subject, usually we tend to sleep a lot in that class. But if she was the one who teaches, we are not sleeping. I think since middle school. If there's 3 level, I think I am intermediate.
For Azza, she often struggled with cluster reduction by omitting the final consonant sounds such as k and t in the words think and subject. Meanwhile, she often shortened the vowels e and a, as in the word dream, sleep, and class.
I don't speak English so often, but I start to learn English maybe in kindergarten, because the concept a bit unique than the other vowel one. The power also good. I find the words meaning first, and then I try to make it in a sentence to know how to use it. Here, no. At school, yes.
When it comes to Izzati, for consonant clusters, she reduced some of them, which include the for the contraction form of do not and the sound in and. As said before, it is common for stops to be omitted, especially in words like and, where most ESL speakers will only focus on producing n while omitting the sound. Apart from that, she often produced a shortened u or u, as heard from the word costume, use, and school. Lastly, she also shortened the e sound to e.
I have learned English when I'm 4 years old. But I think I'm not fluently in speaking English. My hobby is playing badminton. So I started playing badminton when I'm in secondary school.
The speech only had one type of mistake, which was the omission of the sounds th and the when it appeared in clusters or when it was used for past tense, and the same was repeated several times in several different words.
To summarize, for cluster reduction cases, most sounds that were omitted are plosive consonants t, d, and k. Majority of these words are in past tense. Thus, when speakers drop these essential sounds, it alters the meaning of the speech and also affects the grammar. Other than that, some of these consonant sounds are also usually placed in the middle position, which may have caused them to go through elision. There is also the issue with sounds that are not available in the Malay phonemic inventory or available only due to loanwords that leads to the omission of the sound, such as the sound.
When it comes to vowel shortening, since Malay phonemic inventory only consists of 6 short vowel sounds, it is easy to understand why the Malay speakers struggle with pronouncing long vowels, as they might not even be aware of it as much as native speakers do. After analyzing across different types of tests, The issue with pronunciation already begins since the word reading test, meaning that the cluster reductions and the vowel shortenings are not due to the level of attentiveness, but rather it is a problem that is already rooted due to factors like interference of the first language and personal background.
Apart from that, some subjects followed the spellings of the words to pronounce them, which makes this an orthographic-related issue. It is very common for ESL speakers to produce this type of error when they are reading.
In comparing all of the subjects, Umar produced less cluster reductions and vowel shortenings as compared to others. This might have been attributed to several factors. Firstly, when asked about the frequency of speaking English, he described that he would always speak in English with his friends. Moreover, he is a law student at IIUM, and it is a course that primarily utilizes English as the language for instruction. While others were Arabic education majors, Umar might have been in an environment where English is practiced even more.
These subtle differences, generally, though some may not affect the intelligibility of the speech, they do make a significant distinction, especially when heard by native speakers. A research on the intelligibility of Malaysian English to Swedish listeners found that these two phonological processes do affect how they perceive the speech. The lack of teaching discrete sound elements in ESL classrooms may have been a factor, and usually this is due to teachers finding themselves to be not well equipped to teach these intricacies of language.
In every sound, there's a story. Cluster reduction and vowel shortening aren't just slips of the tongue. There are patterns that speak volumes. Case closed, but the investigation into language, that never ends.